On the left-hand side, you see Shaheen Soorani playing Esper Hero, taking on Chase Masters, mono black aggro in the hands of Chase.
So Chase Masters' name sounds like he's a future Magic set.
Yeah, Chase Masters would be something I would absolutely purchase.
Yeah, it would cost about $15 a pack.
Worth it. Worth every penny.
Yeah. Have those old Chase rares in it.
Meanwhile, Chase off to a blazing start. 1-drop into 2-drop. Knight of the Ebon Legion into Orzhov Enforcer. That card getting a look now in these mono black strategies.
Oh, I think that card is not great.
Mostly agree. Mostly. I've played it to some success in a few spots, but I think when the format had a lot of big green creatures in it very early on, it felt much better. It does seem a bit worse these days, though, in a world where you're looking at Golos quite frequently.
Yeah, and
just underpowered.
Yeah, just Field of the Dead zombies everywhere. You gotta pressure these people, right? And spending your turn 2 to play a 1/2 is not putting pressure on anyone.
Not always going to be enough. So it's our old friend, Hero of Precinct 1, on the battlefield for Shaheen. Going to have a second copy to follow up.
I should say, there's reasons that it's in the deck. Like you were saying, it's good against the green mid-rangey decks. It's also leveraged in cards like Priest of Forgotten Gods and Rankle.
Yeah, speaking of Rankle, here we go. Rankle, Master of Pranks, entering the battlefield. First time I've seen it all weekend. I love this card. I think it's so powerful, so unique, so interesting. You have meaningful decisions every time Rankle connects with an opponent. And it came just at the right time, too. Pretty soon that sacrifice ability isn't going to be worth all that much. Right now, Chase Masters maybe wants to cash in that Orzhov Enforcer, deal with one of those Hero of Precinct 1, maybe wants a new card in hand. All the options are available to Chase. The world is their oyster presently. What's funny is I gave a little bit of gruff towards Soorani's deck choice. I do think Esper Hero apt to get outscaled by the nature of this format. This looks like a nice matchup, though. Like, this is generally what you'd like to play against when you're the Esper Hero deck.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cards which are super, super effective against aggressive and mid-rangey strategies, which is why we see very little of the mid-rangey stuff going on in the format.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, we've seen it all weekend. You need to be well-positioned against the big decks.
Yes.
And I just don't think Shaheen's deck is that.
Well, his team is sitting at 6-1. Obviously, this is a team tournament. We don't know individual records, but I'm not going to try and take anything away from Shaheen here. The record is good. That's what matters. Here's an Oath of Kaya. That's going to answer Rankle very efficiently. Gain a little life, make a Shaheen Soorani. Nice little play there. I think I know why Shaheen's playing this deck now.
I got a little more feedback about the potential Craig tokens.
Okay. And where are we at?
Well, someone suggested I could be the reminder card for the Adventure Zone.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I don't know if that's an option because, I was hoping Elk was an option, and it was taken away from me, Brian.
It also doesn't make a token. It's not really accurate.
It's the same thing. It'd be another reminder card.
Right. Knight of the Ebon Legion going to try and push through some damage, but that Soorani token ready to go ahead and do some blocking. Here's another Knight of the Ebon Legion. One of the things I love about this mono black aggro deck, 4 copies of Castle Locthwain. I think that land is so powerful.
So good, yes.
Elite Guard Mage is the play for Soorani. Going to gain some more life, make another creature. Like I said, I think this might be the best matchup in the room for Shaheen's deck. This just feels like exactly what he wants to be playing against.
Yeah, I mean, it seems good. He's got a lot of these mid-rangey value cards, which allow him to fight back against the early aggression of this mono black deck.
Yeah, it feels like Chase may be starting to get brick-walled, but let's not count Chase out. These Knight of the Ebon Legion can grow, get very large and problematic to block. Castle Locthwain going to be providing some card advantage. Let's see what Chase can cobble together here. Step one, looks like it's time for some attacks.
Yeah, let's get those boys in there.
Not going to win playing defense, that's for sure. Elite Guard Mage hops in front of Gutter Bones. A Soorani token gets in front of the Knight of the Ebon Legion. Chase Masters is going to go ahead and activate the Unblocked Knight. It's going to get through for 4 points of damage. That means those Knights of the Ebon Legion are going to get a little bit bigger at end of turn. And also it means Spawn of Mayhem, able to be played for a discount.
All right, this is a board.
Yeah, good little rebuild here for Chase Masters. What does Soorani have as an answer? I see Oath of Kaya in hand. I see some removal spell, Despark, for that Spawn of Mayhem.
Yeah, very clean answer.
2 mana. Feels good. That's going to set up a second Oath of Kaya, which is going to kill one of the Knights of the Ebon Legion. And once again, now it feels Chase Masters has his back against the wall.
Yeah, that was a big swing that turn.
Soorani finding time for a couple attacks. Just one. Hero of Precinct 1. Got to rumble in. Turn heads back to Chase Masters. And Chase was hellbent at the start of this turn, living off the top of the library. Step 1, Knight of the Ebon Legion. Just going to throw a token in the way. Looks like a second Castle Lochthwain. And the card advantage engine is online. Chase going to draw, take a damage. 2 mana to deploy. Priest of the Forgotten Gods doesn't look great in the face of active Hero of Precinct 1.
Yeah, that's a card that drops off pretty quick, right?
Yep.
Where when it comes down on turn 2, sometimes you're like, wow, like this is threatening. This could be a problem. When it comes down on turn 7,
Less threatening.
yeah.
Soorani with 6 mana available now on this turn. Going to go do some fetching with Fabled Passage. Gets an island. Has Bolus's Citadel in hand, I believe. Is that going to be the play from Soorani?
And just looking through Soorani's list, like you're saying, he's just so well positioned against these aggressive decks. I'm looking at the cards that gain life as they also accumulate value for him. The Elite Guard Mage, obviously the Oath of Kaya that we're looking at. Murderous Rider has lifelink. And it just seems like there's just so many cards. You know, he's just gained an extra 9 life this game so far.
And he's now using that life to great effect. Plays Bolus's Citadel. Casts a Tyrant Scorn for 2 life off the top. How about a Deputy Detention for 3 more life? Makes another token. And that's going to about do it for Chase Masters. He's like, okay, I think I've seen enough.
Just had enough.
Sheepishly puts his cards together, scoops them up. And we are headed to game 2. But first, a little bit of sideboard time. We'll start over on Soorani's side. You are looking at 2 Unmoored Ego, 2 Devout Decree, 2 Noxious Grasp, 2 Duress, 1 Dovin's Veto, 1 Time Wipe, 1 Liliana Dreadhorde General, 1 Despark, 1 Enter the God Eternals, 1 Castle Lochthwain, and 1 Bolus's Citadel. Shaheen Soorani showed up at this tournament and said, I am not going to lose to Mono Black today, apparently.
Or Mono Red, or
Mono Red,
Mono White aggressive. Yeah. He I don't know how he's been doing against the Golos decks, but everything else, if you show up with an aggressive deck, Shaheen is ready to punish you.
Absolutely. What are you doing if you're on Shaheen's side here?
So, I mean, there's a lot of just easy inclusions here, which are all-stars, right? The Devout Decree, spectacular. Time Wipe is really strong. Liliana Dreadhorde General, I can see just being insane in this matchup.
Lights out.
Enter the God Eternals, kill something, gain 4, and make a 4. Like, this is all just ridiculous stuff that he can be doing here.
Yeah, you might note some somewhat bizarre one-ups floating in Soorani's sideboard. There's a Fae of Wishes in the main deck, so has access to his sideboard during game 1. I think Fae of Wishes really having a breakout performance this weekend. A lot of people starting to have their eyes open to what exactly that card is capable of. Meanwhile, over on Chase Masters' side, we are looking at 4 Noxious Grasp, 3 Rotting Regisaur, 2 Legions and 2 Disfigure, 2 Ashiok Dreamrender, and 2 Davriel Rogue Shadow Mage. What do you want to do if you're sitting on Chase's side? Go play a different card game, maybe?
Yeah.
Hit the casino floor, see how Blackjack's treating you?
Yeah, go get a little frisky somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like Noxious Grasp is a card that you're going to win this matchup. It's a very good card against the deck you're playing against. But unfortunately, every time you kill one of your opponent's permanents, that card has already drawn Shahino card,
Right.
or dealt with one of your permanents.
Yep.
So it's just going to be such an uphill battle for him here. We'll see, if he can get a decent mix of pressure and a little bit of disruption along the way. But, Chase, that first game, he had a pretty good start.
Yeah.
And it was not close.
No, it was not. This looks like a problematic matchup, to be sure. Do have a result from one of our other matches. Matthew Cotrupe up a game against Peter Ingram. That's the Teamer Delver versus Bomberman matchup. Bomberman, one of Craig's favorite decks on the planet. I know you're basically chomping at the bit to get the chance to cover that one. Don't know if we'll get over there, but I have my fingers crossed for you, Craig.
Yeah, we'll see if we can slow them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Give us a little time to hop over there after this match.
Well, if we actually do get a fast round, we probably should consider ourselves lucky, because there have not been many thus far here at SCG Philly. Well, if you're still hashing out exactly what you want to be playing in Standard in this new format, and maybe you want to know what to play in Modern, maybe you want to know what to play in Legacy, maybe you want to know what to play in completely made-up formats that will never exist, Versus Live is the place for you, Craig.
I'm interested in Modern and Legacy.
Okay. Well, if you go tune in to Versus Live every Tuesday and Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll occasionally see some Modern, you'll occasionally see some Legacy. You'll see a whole lot of Standard going on over there. Of course, the Versus Live guys, Ross Merriam, Corey Baumeister, always at the forefront of the new technology in Standard. You get to see a couple of folks play some great games, have a good time, learn a lot. Check it out every Tuesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern.
All right, I will do.
Good. I'll see you there.
Yep.
I'm usually lurking in the chat. Occasionally I'll comment. Very occasionally.
You're one of those.
Yeah, I'm a lurker. Look, if I don't feel like I have anything to add, I tend to sit in the back, stay quiet, let things shake themselves out. And when it comes to Corey and Ross, I know they have things all figured out.
They are a couple of veterans right there. They know what they're doing.
They will take good care of the viewers. Players just shuffling up here for game 2. These mono black decks have taken up a lot of my time in the early weeks. I worked on them a bunch. I thought my lists were very good. I was very close to registering them quite often. I like Priest of Forgotten Gods. I really liked it early on in the format when, like I said, there was more green creatures floating around. Those decks felt laughably easy a lot of the times. But that's why they're not here anymore.
Yep.
That's why they've worked their way out of the metagame. As things have gotten larger, I've been less impressed by these mono black decks. I think they generally fold pretty hard to Golos, but have some nice sideboard options. Ashiok, real nice card there. Legion's End. You can do some stuff in that matchup. You just really need your plan to come together quickly, though.
Yeah.
Here's a nice start from Chase Masters.
One of the problems with that is then, you have Ashiok on the board,
Yeah,
right? That
doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
I understand. You want to be beating down all the time. Here's a Devout Decree from Soorani. Gonna answer something. Has to decide what it is.
Just leave him the 1/2.
Well, that 1/2 scales pretty well. You want to play your hero at some point. You can wait until you can play it with a multicolor spell. Maybe that's the plan.
I was about to say, if you can deploy two,
That card does a lot of stuff, though. Like
the 1/2.
Yeah, it's not just about killing your creature. It's about drawing a card. It's about generating mana. It's about hitting you for 2 damage. All those things in conjunction with each other add up very quickly.
Yes, but it is a lot of resources to make that happen.
For sure.
And leaving them with just the 1/2 to start means they've got to do a lot of work.
You are correct. And also the point's completely moot, because here's a second copy of Priest of Forgotten Gods. I enjoyed that conversation, though, Craig. It may not have been fruitful, but I enjoyed our time together. See Soorani. Looks like there's a Time Warp in hand, a Liliana Dreadhorde General, but just going to pass the turn here. Doesn't want to expose that hero.
Ooh.
See a Rankle in hand. I see a Murderous, 2 Murderous Rider.
Murderous Rider is another card that it looks so good, right? It's so juicy, just getting all of the value out of that card where you're like, all right, a 3-mana answer to all of the threats in the format, and then it sticks around to be a lifelinking creature later.
Sounds great.
Great in mid-rangey games.
Right. Unfortunately, Not many of those have been played this weekend.
Yeah.
This is one of them, though. Again, chance for all these cards to shine in this matchup. Actual Pharaoh Magic being played. Masters is going to go ahead and cast that Murderous Rider.
Not the strongest deployment of that card.
No, but look, it's nice to have access to all these options. And you needed a curve filler for a turn, you found it. Soorani, more removal, stapled to life gain.
Yep.
It's Oath of Kaya.
It's multicolored for when you have a hero out. This card is so good.
So Priest is going to hit the bin, and the turn passes back to Chase. Both players lacking a fourth land. Here come the beats. Soorani's going to fall to 9. Chase gains a little bit of life from that Murderous Rider's life link. And the follow-up is Order of Midnight, return my Priest. That order is going to go on an adventure and deploy Gutter Bones.
All right, we've got some pressure against an opponent that's stumbling a little bit.
Yeah, Soorani found a fourth land, though. What's he going to be able to do with it? No, he has Time Wipe in hand. Still a ways off that one. Needs another land. Does he have a powerful 4-mana play? We know he's got the hero in hand still. It's just going to be Elite Guard Mage. It's a nice one, though. Blocks everything on the battlefield, gets a card, gains life.
Yeah, I was going to say, just Elite Guard Mage. Like, this is possibly the perfect bridge card for him.
It lines up really well against this battlefield. And we looked at the Elite Guard Mages before this match started. We had a little chuckle at them, because in this format, it doesn't feel like this card should be all that meaningful. Here, it's the best possible card you could draw.
Yep. Yeah, big roadblock. If the opponent deals with it, you still gain life and drew a card, and Shaheen's that much closer to making his next land drop as well.
Right.
Super important.
Fourth land was missed again.
And if he ever gets the Time Wipe, he could potentially be rebuying this Elite Guard Mage.
Yeah, not bad. We do know Chase has Murderous Rider in hand. Have to see if he wants to use that. Force Guard Mage out of the way, get through some damage. Is going to do so. Murderous Rider. And 6 damage heads Soorani's way. Shaheen falls to 8. And the turn going to pass back to him. Draws for the turn. Looks like a second copy of Hero.
Yeah, it might be third.
Still no fourth land. Excuse me, no fifth land for that Time Wipe. Just going to play 2 heroes. Pass the turn back to Chase. Ooh, Chase really wanted that fourth land here for Rankle. Did not find it. And these creatures just going to get into the red zone again. Soorani just going to fall to 2 here.
Wow.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like Soorani's got another Oath in his hand.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
You know, his plan is to untap, play the Oath, get a couple of tokens, buffer his life total a little bit.
Sure.
It might be a bit of a trap if he draws another land.
Here's Spawn of Mayhem.
Okay, he didn't draw the land, but if he had drawn a land there, he might just cast Time Wipe,
Right.
and then the opponent gets to untap, draw land, play Rankle, and just kill him with the hasty creature.
Instead, though, it's going to be Spawn of Mayhem. That really necessitates an answer from Soorani.
Yeah, this card's a problem.
I don't know that he has. He's got a Murderous Rider in hand, but he's at 2 life. Outsizes Oath of Kaya. Doesn't have the 5th land for the Time Wipe. Has another Hero of Precinct 1 in hand. That's doing nothing.
Yeah, and even if he gains the 3 life off of the Oath, the Spawn will trigger on the upkeep.
Get a little bigger.
Get a little bigger, and it'll be enough to kill him.
I think Chase Masters might have stolen this one. Looking to bait out a bad block here, maybe.
Yeah, well, if you
It is just going to be Oath of Gaia.
I feel like he needed to attack with both of them. Mm-hmm. And rep like Time Wipe or something.
Time Wipe?
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. Yeah, and instead just going to scoop him up. And that is going to do it. We're going to head to Game 3 between Esper Hero and Mono Black Aggro. Shaheen has to win this match. I mean, his deck is so loaded against this archetype. Obviously, things went horribly wrong there. Stumbles all over the place.
Yeah, anytime you lose the game, you die with just a grip full of spells. It can be so frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, one of the reasons I'm not super high on this archetype is because I think you're more prone to do that given your mana base as it's set up now. Like, Fabled Passage mana is not the same as all dual land mana. It's very different.
Definitely different. We know Shaheen has another mana source in his sideboard to wish for.
Correct.
I wonder if it's better to just have that in the main deck in this type of matchup where you say, the only way I'm going to lose to this deck, like, my cards are so good.
Yeah.
The only way I lose is if I miss my 4th land drop or my 5th land drop. Let me just up my land count one more. You can even side out that Fae of Wishes.
Sure. I think that's a great point. And, you know, I wouldn't pass Soorani. I wouldn't put it past Soorani having done that. He certainly knows his way around this deck better than almost anyone on the planet. Understands what's important. I like what you're saying, though. If I cast my spells, I can't lose. May as well lean into it.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like a matchup where in the mid-game you want to get cutesy with that Fae of Wishes, and that's what you need to do to be on a similar power level to the other deck.
Right.
Here it's just, hey, if I curve out...
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, all of my cards gain life or kill your thing or draw cards, and the combination of all these is almost unbeatable for the mono black deck.
Especially now that Shaheen gets to go back on the play. It really feels very much in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, his hero coming down on turn 2, he doesn't have to worry about an instant priest activation.
Right.
So he gets to untap, potentially play a removal spell of some sort or whatever, generate the token, even a Teferi on turn. I mean, hero into Teferi? Come on.
Sure. Sounds pretty good to me. 2 copies of Deputy of Detention in Shaheen's deck. Expect more and more of that card as we move forward with this format.
Good against zombies?
Yeah, people had to pick up that lesson one more time. We did it last.
It's funny, yeah.
Standard as well. Eventually the number of Deputy of Detention did increase. I expect Bankolos to start playing that card in the main deck in large numbers. There'll just be more and more deputies around soon.
Yeah, we've seen many a board throughout the room where it's just kind of 20 zombies on each side staring at each other.
Yep.
And the deputy is a pretty big trump there.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, in the modern matchup, Austin Bursavich up a game against Terry Stratton. That's in the Urza Outcome versus Amulet Titan matchup. Amulet Titan having a bit of a resurgence this weekend, Craig. I'm seeing it around in a bunch of places. Ari Lax playing the archetype. Matthew Dilks back to Amulet Titan.
Well, they got a new free spell.
Turns out that's pretty good.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time seems perfect for that deck. You were saying you don't like it a whole lot in Tron?
I love it in Amulet.
Love it in Amulet. Yep,
I think
I
it
agree.
makes a huge difference. And Tron, it's all about those first 3 turns, right? And Once Upon a Time, unless you're casting it for free, is really bad in those first 3 turns for Tron. Amulet isn't about the first 3 turns. It's about finding key pieces to do your thing at many points in the game, and you're often going to be very happy just paying retail for a Once Upon a Time and finding the key cards you need to put the game out of reach.
And when it's free, it's bonkers.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Absolutely. Increases the range of keepable hands. You can keep some just bounce land hands where they're particularly strong. You don't want to do that too often, but it opens up that window. If you've ever seen a double like Amulet, Azusa, 2 bounce land Primeval Titan hand, you know the temptation.
Yep.
You put a Once Upon a Time in that hand, I'm keeping it every time. I can't resist the gamble, Craig. Just cracking some collector's edition packs between rounds. Speaking of gambles, did pretty well for myself. I don't mean to boast.
Yes, you do.
I do, actually. That's the only purpose I have right now.
I love it.
Full art foil Royal Scions in the first collector's booster I opened. Along with a foil Mystic Sanctuary, which I'm stoked about. Just going to use that card.
Yep.
And a full art Doom Foretold, which I feel I probably will never play again. But we had that brief moment, Doom Foretold and I.
It's a card close to your heart, right?
Right. Doom Foretold, of course, catapulted me to a win in the Fandom Legends Tournament Series. Won with Esper Dance. Day one of the new standard format. And people were worried about that deck.
Broke it.
Had a surprise for them at the next tournament. Turns out I got something for you to really be worried about. I'm like those 50s parents. I'll give you something to cry about.
I mean, another week from now, what are we going to see happening?
I'm out. That's it. This is on other people at this point. I got nothing else to offer. Noxious Grasp for that Hero of Precinct 1. An important card to have. You don't want that to start spiraling out of control.
It is, but I feel like if you're on Shaheen's side, you're fine with the way this played out.
Right. Well, look. It's tough for this deck to re-seize the initiative if you take the draw because of how poorly your cards line up. I could see getting real grindy in post-board matchups, really trying to leverage the Castle of Locthwain. Look, I'm not saying it's a great strategy. I don't think you're a huge favorite, but just trying to out-aggress your opponent in this setup going to be really, really challenging given the cards in Shaheen's deck.
Fair.
Here's a Midnight Reaper, just saying you can't one-for-one me anymore. Sheen says, I'll do it anyway. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
This is going to be worth a card, though. Shaheen does have fourth land this time. It's going to be a Fabled Passage, which is going to get the land, cast Sorin, which is going to bring back Hero of Precinct 1. And this feels problematic for Chase Masters.
Yeah, if Chase had to kill, the hero on turn 2, then here it feels like he has to kill the hero and he has to kill the Planeswalker.
Right. Yeah, no good scenarios here for Chase. See a Murderous Rider in hand, I believe, so he can clean up one of these problems. Not both of them, though.
And it's the same thing. If that's the path that he takes, Shaheen's just going to have the initiative on his turn again.
Right. I mentioned a grindy game plan from Chase, whether that might potentially work. Key card in that, Ayara. Ayara, of course, new legend from Throne of Eldraine. I see a copy in Chase Master's hand. I think that's what he's debating, just deploying this card and trying to start grinding. But no, it's going to be Murderous Rider. That is going to go ahead and answer Sorin. Chase falls to 18, and the turn passes back to Soorani.
Yeah, and I think he had to do that there.
Yeah, and I actually don't think things are horrible for Chase right now. I see a D-Spark in hand. What's the other play? Cast Murderous Rider from Adventure. Plays Untap Godless Shrine to have that D-Spark available. Sends the turn back to Chase. It's like a Midnight Reaper in hand, additional Swamp. Going to go ahead and deploy that Swamp. Let's have access to a Murderous Rider that went on an adventure. Play those. Going to be Ayara. I like this. Start gaining a little life. Start plinking away your opponent. Plays Priest of Forgotten Gods. Neither of these cards vulnerable to D-Spark.
All right, we're putting a little something together here.
Yeah, something. Shaheen draws Time Wipe.
And everything we've been putting together.
Good effort, Chase. Yeah. Good try. But all of my cards are designed to beat your deck. Say nothing of just Devout Decree in hand. Yeah, we're going to save that Time Wipe. Just answer that Ayara right now. I like it. I wish Chase did something else with his creatures that were on Adventure. I'm worried he's going to forget about them.
I think in a previous game, he had the same situation with some things exiled and some things on Adventure, and he played a card from Adventure.
Okay.
But I agree, it's better just be as careful as possible
Yeah,
to give
keep things
yourself
clean.
as few chances to make a mistake as possible.
Here's a follow-up Iara. Nice one.
You know what Chase needs?
What's that?
A nice adventure reminder card.
Yeah, maybe a Craig Krempels.
Ooh.
This is nice. Midnight
All right.
Reaper. Okay, a little time wipe insurance. Has active Priest as well. Shaheen draws Thought Erasure, I believe. This game's a little interesting.
It is super interesting, actually. Chase has done a good job of just kind of keeping his head above water through that mid-game. He made a bunch of land drops, so if he gets Wrath here, he gets to just refill his whole hand.
Right. And deploy all of his threats immediately. Castle Lock Thwain at the ready as well. Generate more card advantage. He's grinding.
He is.
I told you, Craig. I
You
think I
told
like
me.
this setup.
You did tell me.
It's one of the big perks of this mono black aggro deck. I mentioned I've messed with this a lot. I was doing a lot of Witch's Oven Cauldron familiar stuff
Sure.
in my mono black builds, focused a little bit more hard on the aristocrat side of things. This deck slants a little bit more aggressively, but has access to a lot of those same play patterns.
Yeah, obviously Ayara with the Midnight Rider.
A lot of cards.
A lot of cards.
You ever find a Gutter Bones, really get to go to town. Shaheen says, yeah, this battlefield is problematic. I need to cast Time Wipe. And that is going to get Chase a bevy of cards.
Oh, Chase, which way are we going? We're going this way. I'm a little surprised.
Oh, this is fine, because you're going to draw 2 cards from Midnight Reaper here. You're going to draw the card from Priest of Forgotten Gods. You do 2 damage.
All right, if he had sacrificed the Priest to Ayara.
I think you are summoning sick, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, I agree with you.
Okay. No, you're 100% right.
Couple of black mana floating. And this is all going to happen. Murderous Rider returns to hand. That's a nice little synergy. Haven't seen too much of that. I don't know. This wasn't that bad for Chase. I mean, stocked with a full grip.
Yeah, Shaheen really needs one of his big payoffs.
I think so. I think you're right. And that's my biggest knock against Esper Hero presently. Losing Teferi was really, really backbreaking for this deck. And you see Shaheen leaning really hard on Bolas' Citadel.
Yep.
Bolas' Citadel, not quite the same card as Teferi. Not as versatile. Can't dig you out from behind quite as well. You need to really emphasize getting ahead if you're going to use Bolas' Citadel. Not to say it's not super powerful. It is.
But even here, he would not be able to cast too many cards off of it.
Sure. Here's a third Ayara. Shaheen's life total continues to deplete. That means Spectacle now enabled on this Spawn of Mayhem. Shaheen falls to 9. Chase falls to 15.
And to me, the big payoff for Shaheen would have been Liliana Dreadhorde General.
Sure.
Like, that is just such a trump in this type of matchup. So rewinding a turn, Shaheen didn't make a land drop.
Right.
And I'm a little surprised because he's got enough cards that cantrip to where I would think you'd want to make as many land drops as possible and potentially chain these cards into each other.
Right. I wonder if he just missed. I doubt it. I think Shaheen probably has a reason. Is going to play the land now. Shaheen's going to fall to 6, though, off that Murderous Rider.
And like you were saying, the castles are just ready to go.
Ready to, as soon as Chase is out of gas, he will refill. But not out of gas yet. Spawn of Mayhem is step 1. Remembers that Murderous Rider. My concerns were for naught. Yeah, I'll vouch for Chase here if you need me to, Shaheen.
Shaheen's a little confused because he wasn't sure what was going on with that guy.
We tracked it very early on.
Yep.
And now Chase has rebuilt a battlefield. Shaheen, land, Thought Erasure in hand. I think Chase Masters won this.
Yeah.
After we talked smack about his deck, literally nonstop. We always said Shaheen is going to crush this deck. And now it looks like Chase Masters has found a way. Going to get rid of a Legion's End from Chase's hand. Does still have that one Murderous Rider, I believe, available. Does Shaheen? He does. Going to go ahead and cast that. Plays a land. Turn heads back to Chase, and that means got to remember the Spawn of Mayhem trigger. Does. Shaheen falls to 5. Get a counter on that spawn. Or is that trigger on your life total?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's only if Chase is low enough.
Okay, so there's another turn possibly available for Shaheen. But step 1, draw an extra card with Castle. Draw a card for the turn. 2 in hand.
And I like that. You use the Castle during his upkeep. Just save himself a point of life.
Yep. Shaheen going to fall to just 1 here. Oh, Order of Midnight. That can get back a Yara, which represents that last point of damage. But do not have the 3rd land. Just Order of Midnight. Shaheen gets 1 more draw step. Draws for the turn. It's Teferi. That's worth a rebuy, but I don't know if there's any outs after we spend this 3 mana. There is Teferi. It's going to bounce. Spawn of Mayhem, of course. Draws.
It's like a
Time wipe again. Untapped land. I mean, we know a Yara is in hand. This gets back to 3.
Yep.
Okay. Wait a second. Untap land. Time wipe. Rebuy this Murderous Rider. And now Chase is going to show 3 creatures.
He's saying, yeah, I'm going to play a Yara.
And that is going to get the handshake. Woo! And Chase Masters wins the game and the match.
We wrote him off for dead.
2-1 over Shaheen Soorani. Look, if Shaheen's not beating that deck, what are we doing here, Craig? Like, what else can I believe in that situation? You see his deck is absolutely stacked, and all credit to Chase Masters. Beautifully played, understood.